Tenet. Okay, so I mentioned in yesterday's clip for the New Mutants, the other film I saw the same day, that it was the first time for me in a theater in approximately 7 months. So just a side note of interest about theaters reopening is my local multiplex does screen rentals for only $150. And that's a really reasonable price if you have a birthday party, business outing, or really just anything with 10 people. You can have a theater all to yourself playing any film that's out. It's sort of a brilliant marketing idea, actually, and I hope keeps theaters open through difficult pandemic times, but that has nothing to do with this review necessarily, just of interest. But Tenet, okay, so Christopher Nolan definitely deserves adulation for pushing the medium of film. His movies are think pieces that no one would ever accuse of trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. That said, though, as good as a film is, when we aren't able to follow what is happening, it's almost always more frustrating than enjoyable. After I saw the film, I went home and read up on it. I found several reviews by people who explained the film in detail after they'd watched it a few times. And as I read these, I went, oh, that's what happened there. Too many times for me to say the film didn't fail on some level. I don't know if there's times in the film when we aren't supposed to understand what's going on, just like the characters don't, and that's different. I mean, there are moments of the film where things are laid out and we see things that we're just not going to understand unless someone spells it out for us. Even after at the end of the film, we're going back, we're not quite sure of it, and if someone else says, oh, this, the director meant this, the actor said this, we go, oh, okay. And then you go, oh, the movie failed to really explain that well. Now, the acting's good, as expected with people like Branagh in it, and it did feel like a science fiction James Bond, which I'd like to see more of, if done well. The film definitely stimulated my brain, and not just in trying to understand what was happening, but because it challenged us to really pay attention to what's being planned, what happens when the plans go a bit off, and those parts of the film make it well worth watching. As I watched it, I wanted to understand it better and figure out what was going to happen. A bad film that was this confusing, I would have given up on in 15 minutes. But, so I'm saying just expect to be confused, and rewinding a little bit isn't going to help. You need to see the film through, read up on it, maybe watch it again before you really understand it all, of what's happening. I have not seen it a second time, so I don't know if it's really better the second time through knowing what's going to happen. And I think we're supposed to appreciate it more the first time, like most things. So I wish they had explained it a little better. So that, I really give it 3.5 out of 5 stars just because of what it tried to achieve and all the really good points about it. I also wanted to say one thing of note here is how hard it was to hear some of the dialogue in the film. Shortly after the film's release, Nolan made a statement where he said he was shocked to realize how conservative people are when it comes to sound. That was his quote. He compared it to films that visually make it hard to tell what's going on and everyone's fine with. But so many of Nolan's films have characters who are purposely hard to understand. Bane in the last Dark Knight film, the oxygen mask wearers in Dunkirk. And if I didn't see Interstellar in the very best theater, I would assume the speakers weren't adjusted right and the music was overpowering the dialogue. Nope. That was intended. In this film, Tenet, there are at least 2 scenes when characters are talking, and I think we're supposed to be able to hear them, but the engine noise or the masks they're wearing make me expect subtitles. That's just almost unacceptable in the film. Someone's got to talk to Nolan and tell him that that's more frustrating than artistic. But, okay, there we have it, Tenet. Worth seeing, but this is the kind of movie you want to really be able to pay attention to, and I'm glad I saw it in a theater.